been in the chorus for 4 years.
I've sung in the May Festival chorus for over 20 years.
This is my 41st year singing in the chorus.
In the chorus, we have a lot of different types of people that are there. Some are lifelong musicians, others have jobs in completely different sectors, everything from engineering to teachers to, like I said, full-blown musicians. So it's a nice range of people to be able to sing with. Everyone brings a different set of experiences. Everyone has a little bit of a different knowledge base. Some people are very fluent in certain types of music, languages, so it's nice to pull from all of the different knowledge that all these people bring to the chorus.
Singers are passionate about May Festival chorus because we're the star. It's about singing, it's about choral music, and bringing the masterpieces to the people, and we're the experts at it.
The month of May is pretty much complete insanity from about the beginning to the end. I think it's 17 straight days of rehearsals and or concerts. And a lot of us go from straight to work to the rehearsals at night. So we are putting in about 16-hour days all week. So it's definitely stressful, but at the same time exciting.
The May Festival actually predates the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and is such a foundation of our musical heritage here in Cincinnati. It's incredibly important that we keep this going. It's the longest running choral music festival in the United States, and it's, I think, thrilling for Cincinnati audiences. We often have full houses, and we're doing so many programs in just 2 weeks. It's a really exciting time.
Having been in the chorus for these many years, when James Conlon first came to us, he was a very young man. And it's almost been interesting watching him grow up, mature, and become truly a part of our family.
The Verdi Te Deum and Stabat Mater, as you know, are part of something called the Four Sacred Pieces. And we're doing all four of the sacred pieces, but two of them we're doing at the Basilica, so we're all doing all four, which is perfectly all right. Because Verdi did not compose them as a set. Someone else named them that. And they are, the four of them, quite different. The Stabat Mater, a very solemn text based on the setting of the text Stabat Mater, which is the narrative of Mary, Mother of Christ, and what she thinks and what she's going through at the foot of the cross. So this lends itself to great drama. As does the Te Deum, a very joyous piece, but does not end in a joyous note, which I've always thought was a little bit of reflection of Mr. Verdi's kind of theological philosophy. He was, at best, ambivalent about religion, and I think that shows in the end of this piece, as it does at the end of the Verdi Requiem as well.
I think the most challenging piece on this year's festival are the four sacred songs of Giuseppe Verdi. They're incredibly intense. You have to put your spirit and your mind and your body together to take it on and deliver, because it's nonstop. Once it starts, there's no stopping, and it just grows and grows and grows.
The four sacred pieces by Verdi, which are set together, two a cappella that we're doing at the Basilica, and then two that we're doing for the May Festival on the same night as Carmina. Those four pieces are set to chant, and Verdi wrote those at the end of his life. When you think of all the great opera that Verdi wrote, and even Verdi's Requiem, which he wrote for Rossini, he had written those pieces 25 or more years prior to his death. He wrote the four sacred pieces just 4 to 5 years before his death. In fact, the Te Deum, he requested that that piece be buried with him whenever he died. So, you know, to ask for that even over his Requiem tells me that this is a piece he thought highly of.
What is there to say about what may be the most performed and certainly the most recorded big choral piece in history? In many cases, it's almost an annual presentation because of what it is, but also very honestly because it's a choral piece that almost everybody knows, if not by name, certainly by the first chorus, which has been used as a commercial theme song. And if I could say so, I also work in Cleveland, and it was the opening Every time you went to see the Cleveland Cavaliers, you were treated to a recording of Carmina Burana, which most people thought to be the Cavaliers' theme song.
A friend of mine came to a performance we gave of Carmina Burana some years ago. I believe it was Paavo Järvi conducting. And he commented that what really struck him, in addition to being great music and great tunes and all that, was the power. There was a visceral effect with all of the forces on stage that he could feel the music. It had physical impact. I just thought that was really cool. We feel that on stage all the time, but in this enormous space that we have in Music Hall, it's not always the case that we project that to the audience as much as we would like to. But Carmina Burana is scored in such a way and with such forces that you're really going to feel it.
It is a masterfully written piece, not only because of its contagious rhythmic nature, because of the texts, which are 12th century medieval texts. There were hundreds of those discovered in the early 19th century.
One of the most famous movements of Carmina Burana is the O Fortuna movement, which is both the first and the last movement of the piece. And this is one that audiences are really familiar with because it's basically played at anything that you need to be dramatic. This chorus is a really rousing chorus. The audience really gets into it. So it's a very fun piece to perform from the chorus side of it as well. And you can tell that the audience really enjoys it too by their applause at the end.
We're joined in this performance by members of the May Festival Youth Chorus, this wonderful choir of select, very talented high school students who meet separately from the May Festival Chorus, conducted by James Bagwell. They meet every week. They are auditioned at the beginning of the year, and quite a few schools in the whole tri-state area are represented. And I would guess, I haven't spoken to them this year, but I would guess that one of the highlights for them and a thrill for them is to be on the same stage as the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra.
Carmina Burana is a favorite piece, obviously a very favorite one with the audience, as they always come to hear it. We've sung it in Music Hall and out at Riverbend, and with a variety of conductors, not just with Maestro Conlon. So it's always interesting to see what interpretation will be done this year and who the soloists are and what little zeal they'll put into their performance.
I think the real magic of Carmina lies in the fact that it is such majestic music around fairly profane theme. You might almost say that you find the sacred in the profane. And that's especially true when the boy choir enters towards the end, because you have a sound that has been associated with church singing for many, many years, all of a sudden appearing in this very profane work about love and lust. And I think what it does is it reminds you that love in the end is very innocent.
The program that I'm conducting is French music, as it turns out, with one of the most popular and well-known pieces of French choral music, that is the Gloria by Poulenc, and then a piece that is very well known to choral aficionados, less known to the general audience, and that is the Requiem Mass by Duruflé, also French.
I'm looking forward the most to two new pieces I have not sung before, and that's the French Flair night, the Duruflé and the Poulenc. Both of those pieces have very loud, raucous, wonderful times where I think you could leave there as an audience member feeling uplifted, but also feeling really, really drawn in.
The Gloria is a very joyful, very playful piece. In fact, there was criticism when he wrote it, and it applied to other works of his. That is, how can religious music, sacred music, be so playful, almost sacrilegious? Well, Poulenc didn't have that point of view. In fact, quotes of his are how he often thought of a particular fresco he'd seen where the angels are seen sticking out their tongues, or he thought about some serious monks that he saw once playing soccer. So he brings that kind of whimsical attitude to sacred texts as a wonderful soprano solo part, and I think the audience certainly will love that.
I particularly love the Duruflé Requiem. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. The harmonies throughout are just beautiful. I would say there are a few times I've been on the verge of tears during the Kyrie movement, because it's just breathtaking. And what's so neat about the piece is that Duruflé has sort of combined his knowledge of Gregorian chant with sort of the 20th century nuances as well. So it melds the two, and it does so beautifully.
The Duruflé, less well known, but I would say to anyone, if you love the Fauré Requiem, you're going to love the Duruflé Requiem. It's quite a few years later, but the model is similar. It is a requiem, it's a setting of the Mass, the Catholic Mass for the dead, but it is very comforting. The most frightening aspects of the text that he could have included, he chose to omit, just like Fauré. That is, he doesn't deal at length with the Day of Judgment, unlike Verdi. If anyone was here last season and heard the Verdi Requiem with all its terror, there is very little of that. It's a very comforting, beautiful piece, and the model is the Fauré Requiem. If the audience doesn't know this, I think it'll become one of their favorites after they hear it.
The May Festival is the crowning achievement culturally in Cincinnati. There is no other festival like it on the face of the earth.